Welcome back, everyone. This is Eric at Tactical Flex, and today we're going to be installing Aanval version 8 and then setting up a new Unified2 Snort Sensor. And this will all be done on a Mac Mini running OS X 10.11, which is the El Capitan. And we already have a lot of the prerequisites performed, as you'd find on our wiki site. We already have MySQL running, we have Snort installed, and so we're at the point now where we really just need to install Aanval and then set up our sensor. And so to get started here, what we need to do is first, we need to clear out the existing directory, web server directory. And so we'll do that here. Okay, everything's cleared out. Now let's go into that directory. We'll need to download Aanval. Now this can be done directly from the command line or also by going to Aanval.com and logging into your own Aanval account, which are free to set up and use, and then you can download Aanval that way too. But we're just going to download it from the command line right here. All right, now that we have it, it's very simple here. All we do is simply untar the package. We can further remove the tarball now. And now what we need to do is just bring up our browser window. We'll point it to where Aanval is here. And this is at here we go. Begin installation. Read and accept the end user license agreement. Aanval's doing some environmental checks. Now we just need to point where the Aanval database is located. Everything checks out here. There we go. Aanval is building the structure and tables on our database. We can now log in. The default username and password, they are also provided on our wiki site. All right, and we are in. So now what we can do at this point, let's make sure where we are. All right, so let's turn on our background processors. We'll go into the apps directory of our Aanval installation. They're on. Let's confirm it here. There we go. Things are looking good here, all green. Now, a couple things you'll notice. First off, I'm located here in the Mountain Time Zone, but our console is picking this up, showing that we're in UTC. Not a problem. Aanval is actually directly grabbing whatever time zone we have from our PHP INI. So, let's check out PHP INI. And what might be happening in this, I've actually seen this a lot here, folks just may not have the time zone actually labeled in their PHP INI. We'll save that. There it is. Okay, so next, where we already have our Snort sensor already set, up and running, all we need to do now is add it. So to do that, first, we'll go to our configuration menu. Now, for those new to Aanval that might have an existing Snort setup where Barnyard is sending their logs to a MySQL database, that is an option that we still support here, where Aanval can simply connect to that database and import those logs from whatever sensors are reporting to that database. But what I'm going to be doing here is adding one of our new Unified2 sensors, because now Aanval can directly import those Unified2 logs being sent by Snort. So we don't even have to use tools like Barnyard now, and this is going to be a solution that's much faster and extremely much more efficient. Okay, so first we're going to set up our sensor. All right. Click here. We'll set up a new sensor. Call it Snort. And we'll turn it on. Pretty basic right there. Now, one thing we're going to need to take of note here is this sensor management tool ID. Just so when Aanval is talking to this sensor, it doesn't get it mixed up with any other Snort sensor. Now that we have it enabled here, we also need to turn on our sensor permissions so that we will actually be able to view and manage any of the data coming in. We'll go back one menu, come here to sensor management. Okay, so here's our Snort sensor here. A few basic things we need to do to get this thing set up. First off, we need to tell Aanval a little bit of information about it. So we need to tell it where its configuration file is located. We need to tell it where its logs are located. We need to tell it where these two files are located. Now you'll notice these bars here are all grayed out. That's not a problem because once Aanval connects with this sensor and finds the configuration file, it'll fill this information in. All right, now we have our own daemons here that we're going to use to start and stop Snort. And we'll click Update. Okay, so we have the basics detailed in Aanval as to where to find this sensor and how to communicate with it. Now, let's go back here to our configuration. We are going to need to copy this sensor ID. So that's copied. Okay, now, as I mentioned earlier, the sensor management tools themselves are included in your Aanval download. Let's find where we are. Okay. So we can actually copy all of these things. They are located in the contrib directory. And for setting up a Unified2 sensor, we want to use the Aanval SMT2s. You'll notice in this Aanval download, there's just the SMTs and then SMT2s. Your SMTs are used when you're setting up a standard MySQL sensor. Where we're using the Unified2, we need the SMT2s. We're going to copy that whole package to our own SMT directory. Let's go to that directory. And just to give you a quick view here, I mean, it's very simple what we're doing. And so we have a few processes here that Aanval will start and use. And basically all we need to do is edit the configuration file. And this of itself is also very simple. All we need to do here is enter the SMT ID that we have from our sensor. And we need to tell the SMTs where Aanval is located. And that should do it. Pretty simple. So now, all we need to do are now test these SMTs. All right, look at that. We have our connection. It grabbed some information about the box itself. It grabbed all of our information here, and it's doing just kind of a basic setup. And this is what we first want to do. Running this command here is just a simple test to make sure that the SMTs are working. So let's go back to our sensor management menu. Hey, look at that. So we got some information about our sensor here. And there we go. Here's all the basic information about it. Okay, now a few other things we can do here. Let's let this finish running its main loop. All right, it ran the main loop. We know that the sensor management tools are working. We have a successful connection. So all we can do right now is go ahead and start those SMTs in daemon mode. Done. Okay, now we have the communication between our sensor and Aanval set up. Let's go over some of the basic communication things we can do here. First off, if you didn't notice, we'll go back in here. All right, so we have some details about the engine itself, but we can get some further details here right now. So let's send those basic messages. And what's also helpful here, keep in mind that these are very secure messages, what we're doing here. Between Aanval and Snort, only these messages will be recognized. So there's no hacking, there's no one gaining entrance to these sensors through Aanval because it's only recognizing these commands. So let's first get our engine configuration and let's get its rules. Now we'll get an idea as to what the configuration file looks like and what rules are enabled. We can go back in here now. There we go. Here's our whole configuration file. All right, and we grab the rules. And by grabbing the rules, what Aanval did was automatically create a new policy. And if we like, we can always come here to policy management and just simply update the name if we like. We can create any number of policies. We can come here to signature management. All right, now it's showing us this policy. So it's showing us all the rules that are currently enabled on this sensor. We have our different categories listed, and this is showing us how many we have enabled and how many are available. And if we want to get a closer picture, we can click on the specific signatures. We can turn signatures on, off, whatever we need. Okay, so we've added our sensor. We have communication established. We've selected our user permissions on the sensor. So now with Aanval 8, we further have the option here to quickly filter out sensors that we might have running. And so at this point, what we can do is just click Snort, enable it. So now we can start seeing events that are coming in from this sensor. All right, so now we have Aanval installed, our sensor added, and we're good to go.